You guys notice anything?
What?
Huh? What?
Like, different?
No.
No.
Right. Sensitivity, brackets complete. By I hate the snow. Me too, man. You hate that snow.
Wait,
you need to...
There's a trigger warning.
Yeah, I was literally reading that.
Sorry.
I've done this like...
Go on then.
You need to learn how to work and live together. We need to get along. We are the greater good. Sex. Rick, Michonne, Shane, Lowry. Trigger warning. If you need the trigger warnings to get through a fanfiction story, go do something else. If you are easily offended or upset, do not read this. You've been warned. No whining. Rated M. We're entering hour number 2 of a 3-hour seminar on diversity training and social justice. That's a thing. They were sitting in the back row, just like they did countless times in high school. Rick was doing everything he could to try and stay awake, and Shane was doing everything he could to stop looking at the speaker's boobs.
Oh, Shane.
The presenter, Michonne Anthony, didn't know that was her last name as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Continue speaking.
Is it a woman, is it?
Yeah. It's a black woman, so do your best to try and do that tastefully.
Having never watched The Walking Dead before, this will be good.
So, now that we've covered sexism, we'll start talking about microaggressions, sister.
Still you.
What are microaggressions, you ask? Well, they're things that happen every day to everyone. The definition is brief and commonplace daily verbal, behavioural, or environmental indignities. Whatever. Whether international or intentional or unintentional. That communicate hostile, derogatory, or negative racial slurs and insults towards people of colour. For example, I am a black woman. No, you cannot touch my hair. No, I'm not on welfare. I've been asked, where are you from? And I answered Chicago. Then they ask, no, where are you really from? People think I'm odd because I enjoy country music and watch ice hockey. Microaggressions are what we all have. Assuming someone became a teacher because he or she likes working with children. Assuming someone becomes a doctor because he or she wants to help sick people feel better.
Shane leaned over and whispered, "Dude.
Hello?
Smile, you're on camera!"
Did you ever hang up or was bad signal?
I think she probably hung up.
I think she hung up on you, John.
She realised that we were doing something important, and most people put their phone on fucking silent when they're filming something.
So, what did Shane do again?
Shane leaned over and whispered,
I'm assuming I'm gonna fuck her tonight.
to Rick. Rick's phone buzzed in his pocket. Even he remembered that he had to fucking put it on silent when you're in a fucking lecture, indicating a new message. He smiled when he saw it was his new wife, Lowry, asking her how everything was going.
Who the fuck is saying that?
You.
Yeah, but is it Rick?
It's what he's typed.
Z talking about politically correct shit.
Lowry?
Is that woman?
Yeah.
White this time though, so.
Okay. How much longer?
Not sure. Couple hours.
Huh, then you're free?
Yup.
I'll put on my bikini and meet you in the pool. Fenced in black yard means you can fuck me hard outside.
Shit, babe. Time's gonna by so slow. Love you.
Love you too.
Rick put his phone away and tried to refocus on the speaker, who kept talking.
For instance, things you should never ever say is you people. Ever. I know this is the South, but even people you call is racist. You all are short for you all, which is just like saying you people. Don't ask someone of Asian heritage how good they got at math. Never ask a black person if they play basketball. Never ask a person of Mexican heritage if they speak Spanish. And unless you speak the language fluently, don't try to speak it to them because it's condescending.
Condescending?
I was at a restaurant with some friends recently, and the server came over and asked, "How are you guys doing?" We were all women! No men there. That was a microaggression. That women can't be on their own with a man around. Oh, it's me again. In order to avoid microaggressions, you'll need to focus on every word you say. Think about every word before it comes out of your mouth. Don't ask someone who is virtually gifted if he or she can reach something for you. Don't joke with someone who is vertically challenged how the weather is down there. When a friend offers to give you a name of a dentist or a doctor, don't assume or say, "Is he any good?" That's assuming that the doctor is a man. Now, moving from microaggressions to race, let's talk about microaggression towards sexism. A woman can put on her own coat. A woman can open her own door. A woman can do anything a man can do. No woman needs a man to open a door for her.
My daddy would have whooped my ass if I didn't open a door for a woman.
Shane whispered, and Rick nodded. Rick's phone buzzed again, and he opened the message to see a selfie lady take of herself. She was naked, floating on a raft in their pool. "Waiting for you," is what she wrote.
Holy fuck.
Shane whispered before he put the phone away.
Maybe I'll go home with you.
He said, and Rick just smiled as he shook his head no.
The black or white woman.
Black.
A woman I worked with liked the show Scandal. Now so did I. She was a white woman, and I asked her what she thought of the handsome white male star being paired with a black woman. Let's just say she was a
Oh, like The Walking Dead.
violently racist and uses the white privilege logic of reverse racism to feed her white victim complex when called out on it. She's
Sure.
also Islamophobic, egalitarianism, anti-Semitic, ableist, classist, elitist, highest, colorist, and sizist.
What's colorist? Those people who like draw
Maybe it's-
comics.
Maybe it's crushing the blue ball more than the yellow.
Just an all-around problematic asshole who likes to use social justice buzzwords to try to intellectualize and defend her stance on problematic issues.
The room went quiet when Michonne finished her tantrum. She cleared her throat, took a sip of water, apologised, and continued.
Oh!
She had a problem with misogyny, misandry, intersex human rights, discrimination towards non-binary persons. She was xenophobic, allophobic, transphobic, like Reese, homophobic, lesbophobic,
Like John.
antiphobic,
Like
was,
John.
was anti-albinism, anti-autism, handicapism, aphobia, shadism, anthropocentrism, data discrimination, neurodiversity,
So many isms.
anti-left-handedness, anti-masonry,
Masonry.
and threw around microaggressions like candy. That is why it is so important to always be alert.
The speaker was, at long last, finished. She asked them any questions, and nobody dared to ask anything, at the risk of facing the wrath of his fellow officers later. Nobody wanted to hear 3 hours worth of crap, or worry about a word or two that would upset some overly sensitive professional victim. I think we've stumbled onto something a bit political. Shane went to talk to Michonne, shaking her hand and thanking her for a wonderful seminar. He locked eyes with Rick as he was leaving the room. Rick sped home, opened the front door, and towed off his boots. He took off his gun belt and put it gently on the floor. That's not the same, but it's
What? He's on the floor.
He walked through the house and stood at the door leading out to the deck and pool. He then grabbed some cold waters and a few towels. He walked outside, being quiet, not to disturb Lowry, who looked like she fell asleep. She put her bikini back on, and he could smell a cocoa butter suntan lotion. For fuck's sake, John! Give me the fucking phone!
It's not my phone.
Yes, it is! Turn it off! Fucking lost where we are now. Oh yeah, he got completely undressed and just a cannonball into the pool, hearing Lowry shriek as she was startled not only by the water, but all the sudden noise. Dick, move! He laughed as he grabbed her off the float and pulled her into the cold water and away from the sweltering sun. She was laughing, saying,
Oh, you scared the shit out of me.
before they kissed deeply. Their lips met softly at first, and then more insistently, their tongues licking each other's lips, and then pushing urgently together. He hugged her tightly and said,
I love you.
before they kissed again. He held her close as he untied her bikini top. Her warm body pressed up against his, her hard nipples brushing against his chest. He cupped her face in his hands as hers dipped into the water and found his engorged cock.
Ooh.
She started stroking him, and he started shoving his tongue deeper into her mouth. He moved one hand under the water as he easily untied the sides of her bikini bottom. He moved his hands around her mound, finally sliding in 2 fingers. She moaned as she could feel her breast pushing against his arm as he applied more pressure to her. His fingers found her clit, beginning a slow rotating motion around and over it. Lowry's moans of delight emitted from her lips. Give us some moans of delight. Rick bent slowly, kissing the skin down to her breasts. He captured her nipple in his mouth as it bobbed on the surface of the water. He led her over to the side of the pool and grabbed onto the edge. She moved herself to the entrance so that her entrance was inches above his dick and slowly guided herself onto him. Rick pushed his cock deep inside her as she wrapped her legs around his waist, pulling him in deeper. He felt her warmth envelop him, and the deeper he went. Lowry held her breath as she felt him penetrate her. He could feel him stretching her deeper as it slid into her. They both let out loud, lustful moans when he reached his full depth.
Ooh.
Oh.
That full depth.
Oh.
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 Ah.
Moving on.
Yeah. Lowry felt him slowly slide out of her as he began to withdraw his member. Rick felt her muscles tighten around him as he slowly pulled out. Rick could feel the water surrounding his cock. He pushed hard against her, sending himself back into her warmth. She moaned loudly as he felt him slip back inside her. Pushing back against him, she dug her heels into his ass, and her fingers raked along his back. You know, imagine the position they're in.
Yeah.
Digging your heels into her ass.
Yes.
His ass, like, okay, that's...
I've not heard of that one before.
Her hips gyrated around his cock, keeping him deep within her hot body. They both fell into a hypnotic rhythm, feeling each other's bodies respond to the unrelenting sexual urge. She felt him rubbing against her sensitive inner walls as it moved in and out faster. She heard Rick's grunts and moans with each thrust. He felt her body stiffen and push more urgently against him. Her moans mixed with his as they both felt their impending orgasms. Pushing, grunting, and moaning all at the same time.
Carl!
He released his load deep inside his wife. Her orgasm rolled over her. Holding on tight, she felt her muscles spasm over and over as her orgasm seemed to be never ending. They held each other tightly, listening to their breathing and the sounds of nature all around them. The rest of the day was spent together, showering, making dinner, as they made love one more time before going to bed. When Rick was getting ready for work the next morning, he turned on the phone and saw a picture from Shane. It was of the speaker, was shown naked and asleep in his bed. She was bald, her dreadlock wig removed. Rick smirked when he saw that selfie, and Shane was wearing the wig.
God.
The text read,
Fuck the good, nothing might grow here!
Rick smiled and shook his head before heading into the kitchen to eat some of Lowry's pancakes.
What a weird last sentence. What was that?
The random fucking bits
So-
of the wig shit.
Who's horny now after reading that? I have
That
an,
was the one we read before.
I
this.
have an erection.